Person, moment, movie, or story that frightened you the most? What's the best scare in your life?
Best scare of my life. Hmm.
What is going on, you guys? Welcome in to the all-new Takedown on SI YouTube channel. Rick Uccino here. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe as well for all of our great content, including this conversation right now. You know my guest at this time. Let's go ahead and call it a comeback. Back in WWE after just a horrific knee injury in January, and she is already here, and she's got a big matchup at Halloween Havoc this Sunday. Cora Jade, welcome to the channel. How are you
Hello.
doing? Thank you so much.
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Now probably not the best time in your life, but let's go back to mid-January here. You tear your ACL, your MCL, your meniscus,
Yeah.
and right about that 9-month window for recovery, you're back. You're in the ring. You're ready to go. You're shocking people and costing Julia the NXT championship. You know, what was the secret to your success there? Because 9 months, that is not always the case as we have seen it with other superstars. What was your secret to getting back on time?
Hey, it was 8.5 months.
Okay. Yes. All right. All right. Fair. No, I'd be the same
Even
way. I'd
better.
be specific. 8.5 months. How'd you pull it off?
But no, in all seriousness, it was like the worst injury I've ever had in my life. Like, just obviously physically, but mentally, it was just awful. But like just taking the time off sometimes, I guess, like because I've been going so hard and just nonstop since I started when I was 15, 16 years old, and I've never had a break. So I think it obviously was a horrible thing, and I wish it never happened. But in retrospect, I think it was good that I got the time to just sit back and like breathe for a second and like
Sure.
just come back with a fresh start, fresh headspace. And I think all things happen for a reason. So
Now,
we're back and
yeah,
better.
the rehab process for that. You said this was the worst injury you've ever had. So this was, you know, obviously a lot of this was brand new to you. So I mean, I've seen you on social media and you're doing the whatever that leg pump thing is, and you're like, please, dear God, let this be the last time I'm ever doing that. Obviously, the rehab process had to be a bit of a grind for this.
Yeah, definitely, especially because I don't know why. It's definitely weird for being in the profession that I'm in, but I'm very like weird and queasy with like anything like bodily like related. So like moving my knee like that and just like it's like a lot of pops and clicking and like the
Hmm.
stitches. Oh, it was just disgusting. Like it was so bad. Like, and then the biodex test that we had to do, but we're through it now, so it's fine. But it was definitely one of the more rougher things I've ever had to do, especially mentally.
Now, when you like, there's never a good time for an injury, right? But like when it happened, it was pretty bad timing. Like you had just come back from a hiatus. Clearly, there
Yeah.
you're getting set up there to challenge for the NXT Women's Championship, and then unfortunately, it goes down. Now that had to the timing of everything did not help the situation, obviously.
Yeah, it was definitely not the best timing, but I mean, at that point, it was almost like I was at like rock bottom, so you could only go up. Like everything was already bad, so you could only go up from there. So I had no choice in the matter, and like I said, I was kind of just was looking at it as like everything happens for a reason. I haven't had a break since I was 16 years old, and I just need to take the time to get better. And I guess kind of I took the time to like soak it all in, and kind of it's life moves so fast during this business too. It's kind of hard to stop and appreciate what you have and realize that this is what I wanted since I was 8 years old. So take the good and the bad.
What did you learn about yourself in that time? Because you talking to people, there's no real off time. Like you said, when you don't take a break, you don't take a break in pro wrestling. It's always on to the next thing, and it's very hard to kind of to steal a CM Punk line, stop and smell the roses every now and again, right? So what did you learn about yourself when you had a chance to finally like sit down, look at where you have come to this point in your career? You're only 23. You're doing fantastic, by the way, but a lot of years left ahead of you. What did you learn about yourself and what you need to do to get to where you want to be?
I spent a lot of time. I read like I used to be a big reader, and I like during all of this, I just you get busy and you like drop those like little hobbies that you used to have. But I don't know. I think I just took the time to like appreciate life and like life outside of wrestling and do things I haven't done in forever, like read again and like take my dog to the park and, you know, just do random life things that you don't really get to do, which like I'm so grateful for all this, but you know, you don't get to do certain things sometimes. So it was nice to just take that time to like just live life and like appreciate it and just, you know, realize that realize what you have and what you're coming back to. And it's just motivation to come back and like realize what you're coming back to.
You know, there's an old saying for like sport, like football teams, baseball teams, you never lose your spot due to injury, right? And as we all know, that's just not true. It happens all the time. It's happened this season. Yeah, I don't want to bore you with the Bengals punting battle, but you know, it happened this season, you know, for other teams. But like sitting on the sidelines and watching girls like Jada Parker and Kalanda Jordan, you know, step up their game. Roxanne be able to take herself to the next level. Obviously, you know, a lot of headlines, justifiably so, were written about Julia and Stephanie Verker coming in. Rumors flying about Delta before she showed up this week. Like there had to be some legitimacy to those comments you made, where it was like, y'all kind of forgot about Cora Jade here. Did you legitimately feel forgotten about when you're? I mean, there were so many times I talked to Shawn Michaels about like 19 different girls in NXT. It seems so. It's like, did you feel forgotten?
I feel like there's a little bit of truth to everything I say and tweet, you know, but you obviously selfishly you can only sit back and look and be like, damn, like I feel like I'm getting like forgotten about or like passed over and like the, you know, the division is kind of moving on without me. But then at the same time, you can look at that also as motivation. And I was like, the women's division is the best it's ever been. We've never had so many talented women. We've never had so much time for women on a show in the segments and the matches. Like it's literally the best time to be a women's wrestler. So yes, it was defeating a little bit to kind of have to sit back and not be a part of it, but at the same time, it was motivating to realize that I'm coming back to literally the best women's division in the entire world in any company. So, you know, I'm very happy to be here now.
And
Took a
there
long
had
time.
Yeah, and there had to be a certain level of trust with Shawn too, right? Because he is one, he's never shy about putting over the women's locker room. Anytime I talk to him, he is giddy as a schoolgirl to talk about the women's locker room in NXT. And he also backs it up with his booking. And immediately you're come back and it's boom, you're in the opening segment of the CW debut NXT Women's Championship match. You're standing next to two of the biggest stars in NXT, and just to remind everybody, like, oh yeah, hey, by the way, I'm here too. Don't
Yeah.
forget about Cora Jade. Yeah, so there had to be that certain level of trust with Shawn too upon your return.
Definitely. Shawn's great. Like you said, he has endless trust in the women, which I'm so thankful for because like, without him, we wouldn't be able to show the things that we can show, you know? So I am very thankful for him. And I remember when I got hurt, I like was crying and I was like apologizing to him. And yeah, I remember like, don't say sorry, like it's not your fault. But like, I'm just so thankful that he gets it. Injuries happen. You have to take the time, get better. He gave me the time. He let me, you know, mentally, physically get better. And then as soon as I came back, I think he has the faith and the trust in me to throw me back in the main event picture, which I'm very thankful for. And I know I can do. So I'm very excited to prove to him and everybody that Cora Jade's back in. I'm still on top. Just because all these other women in here doesn't mean they passed me yet.
Obviously, major matchup this weekend on the road, historical show like Halloween Havoc. First time getting to really work with Julia and Stephanie Vicker. You know, what are the feelings like when you get to wrestle somebody for the first time, especially, you know, two women as accomplished as they are in the ring?
Yeah, obviously it's a little bit I don't know if nerve-wracking is the word. It's just a little bit different going into it. You know, you're wrestling with these women that I've seen a lot of their matches. I've seen them travel all over the world. They're obviously very successful and passionate in what they do. So a little going into it, it's a little bit, I guess you could say nerve-wracking, but it's in a good way. It's like exciting because I haven't worked with them before, but I know how talented they are and that I can learn from working with them because they've been wrestling longer than I have. So, you know, to be able to work with them, I know that they're going to bring out the best in me and hopefully I bring out the best in them as well as Roxanne. So I'm very excited to work with them.
Consider this a pretty good bench test for
I
yourself.
think I think so.
Yeah. What's the mindset coming off of this injury, right? It's going to be your first in-ring matchup. You talk a lot about, you know, I've spoken to athletes before coming off of major injuries, and there's always a little bit of trepidation until they, you know, like a quarterback get in there and they run out of the pocket for the first time, or they take that first hit, and it's like, okay, I'm good now. Is there anything like kind of lingering in your mind and you kind of just want to get in there and take that first bump and run the ropes for the first time and just be like, all right, I'm back kind of a thing?
Yeah, I'm ready to get going. I mean, yeah, it's definitely, when I ran out and returned in Chicago, that was like kind of the first taste of like being back and the adrenaline and, sweating and wanting to vomit before going out. But I got the first taste of it out of the way. So now I'm ready for the match part. So I'm very excited. I think I'm as ready as I've ever been. I'm in the best shape physically and mentally that I've ever been in. So I'm excited. I think this is going to be a very good run for me, and I think not only just me, but the NXT Women's Division. I think we're skyrocketing right now.
2 years ago at this event, you faced Roxanne, Weapons Wild
Yes.
match. Now you're going to be teaming with her. This is someone that you have history with dating back before you were both in WWE. What Roxanne Perez has done over the last few months has arguably been the best work of anybody in the company. And I know you have been watching. What has it been like to kind of sit back and watch her growth over the last few months?
I think if anybody deserves it, it's in this company right now, it's her. We have a very similar story. She was the most passionate, crazy wrestling fan as a kid. She went to all the shows just like I did. We were both crazy AJ fans. Like, I remember seeing, like, because I used to have like a WWE fan page. I remember seeing like a picture of her and AJ, like when she was a kid. And obviously at the time, I didn't know it was her. But it's funny to look back now and realize it was her. But I think I've never met someone like so passionate and hardworking. She's always in the ring. She's always learning. She's so humble. She never thinks she's above questions or anything like that. I think she's one of, if not the best wrestler in the world right now. So I think she's killing it. And if anyone deserves it, it's her. And I'm happy to be right by her side while she's doing it.
There you go. All right. Obviously you mentioned AJ, Roxanne, big AJ fan. And of course, if you're probably an AJ fan, that means you're a CM Punk fan. I mean, everybody knows at this point we've all seen the video the first time that you met Punk
Yes.
at the signing and everything like that. People say you hear that saying all the time, kill your heroes, right? That doesn't seem to be the case with you and Punk and what he's done since he came back to WWE. That video of him surprising you ahead of the Royal Rumble at what was it, a diner or something that you guys were sitting at. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's been obviously active in NXT since he came back and kind of you know gone under Shawn Michaels' wing a little bit there as a coach. What has it been like to work with Punk? Growing up as such a big fan of his as you did.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's unreal. Like, he was like the number one, like, nobody was on top of CM Punk in my world. Like, he was number one. So it was crazy to just have him come back. I didn't think he would. I don't think anyone ever thought he would come back, especially while I'm working here. It was crazy. But it's just so cool to have him, like, love him or hate him, he is who he is 100%, and you can only admire that. Like, he is constantly trying to help, constantly trying to give advice, like, and that's, if you don't want to listen, you don't have to listen. He's not going to force it down anybody's throat, but if you want to listen, he's there to give it. And I think it's incredible. He's helped so much. And then I think he's a very selfless person, and the fact that he is always coming down and he'll sit there and watch matches for hours. Like he isn't CM Punk and has a million other things to do. Like, he'll sit there and help, and with a smile on his face, and he never complains. And he's just helped me and Roxanne genuinely so much, and I'm so thankful for him.
What was it about Punk that really resonated with you as a kid and that, made you gravitate toward him as a fan?
I think number one, obviously, is he's from Chicago, and I was from Chicago, so I was
Fair.
like, well,
Yeah.
automatic. And then I honestly, it was kind of out of spite, like, because I remember at the time that I kind of started watching, like, crazily, was when CM Punk and Rey Mysterio were feuding, and he was like singing happy birthday to the kids. That's like such like a prime memory in my brain. But I remember my little brother was like a huge Rey Mysterio fan. So kind of to be like, F you, I'm a CM Punk fan. I love CM Punk. So then I just started being a CM Punk fan. And then obviously over the years, it was just like, he is just unapologetically himself. He's not scared to say anything. He's like just him. Like, and I feel like that's kind of like how I am. Like, I just am who I am. I say what I want, and like, I don't really care. So like, seeing someone like him be the same way and be as successful as he is, I feel like I just gravitate towards that.
Yeah, see, I'm glad that you can remember because I'm old and my memory is shot, and I just remember like growing up being fans of the people that I'm fans of, but I'm at the same time I'm like, I can't pinpoint what exactly it is that made me a fan of there. So I'm glad you were able to give me an answer on that one.
Yeah, it's like my first wrestling memory, I would say.
Oh man, yeah. I honestly though, same. Like one of my first ones that I can remember was Rey Mysterio, and is when he fought Ric Flair for the WCW Championship for the first time. So that was one
Yeah,
of
I
the
think I
ones.
started watching like a little bit before then, but it was just that's like the one in my head where I'm like, yeah, that was when I was like, I love CM Punk. I want to be a wrestler.
All right, you up for a couple of quick ones because this is one of my favorite times of the year. Are you a big Halloween person? Are you into the spooky season?
I love Halloween.
Oh, perfect. Okay, awesome. Couple of quick ones. Favorite Halloween costume you've ever done?
Ooh, honestly, it might be a surprise coming up
Oh,
that you have to stay tuned for. So
okay.
that's all I'm gonna say, but it's gonna be that one.
All right, teaser, love it. Go to horror flick, and I say this knowing I'm about 15 years older than you, classic or otherwise.
I'm more of like a thriller person than
Okay,
like a typical like horror movie, but I do love the Scream movies. The
you just
That's
made a
number
fan for life. You made a fan for
one.
life.
But I love like thrillers and true crime is like that's I could sit there and watch a true crime documentary over and over and over. Like that's my forte.
Oh, do you consider the original Scream classic at this point?
I think so.
Ah, that makes me so old. Yes or no on candy corn?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Best Halloween Havoc match, WCW or NXT?
Hmm. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and say me and Roxy
I
from
had a
Halloween
feeling.
Havoc 2 years
I had a
ago.
feeling. I would go with Goldberg DDP 1998. That's one of the first ones that I remember for sure.
Close second.
Person, moment, movie, or story that frightened you the most? What's the best scare in your life?
Best scare of my life. Hmm.
I meant for these to be quick.
Fit Finley has a thing that he loves to do where he has a fake cockroach, and
Mm.
he's had this for so long. I don't know if he has a packet of them or just one. I don't know. But his favorite thing to do is leave it. And I remember the first time he ever did it to me, I'm terrified of bugs. I think I screamed so loud I lost my voice. So yeah, I'll give it to Fit Finley and his cockroach pranks.
All right, let's wrap it up here. Who has more afraid? Who has more to be afraid of this Sunday? You and Rox or Julie and Stephanie?
Julie and Stephanie. Easy.
All right, Cora. I appreciate the time. Thank you so much, and good luck this weekend.